So I'm going to continue on with my children project. I would have opened it up by going File, Open Live Set, and just opening up that saved file to continue with. Today I'm going to explore adding some guitar, I think. Let's add some kind of eighth note or quaver movement with our chords, a little part that goes along with our piano chords. You might recall we have our piano chords there. I'm going to do a little search for guitar, and I'm going to look within the instruments section. I'm going to drag a nylon concerto guitar onto track 2. Okay, now that's loaded up. I'm going to make a 4-bar MIDI clip. You might recall there's a few ways to do that. I'm going to right click and say insert MIDI clip, but you could do Control-Shift-M if you remembered that shortcut. Okay, I have a 4-bar clip here. It's got 16th note resolution on the grid right now, but I'm just going to deal with 8th notes, so I can get rid of half of those, subdivisions, we'd say, subdivisions. So I'm now going to bring up my chord chart. Now, there's the D flat chord, B flat minor chord, and F minor chord we used for our piano. What I'm going to do is just choose to go between two of the notes. I'm going to choose the second and third, as in like the bottom note and the middle note from our chords, and I'm just going to alternate between those notes in quavers. So you've got this kind of sound. Oops, now I've somehow still got semiquavers there. Let's just go back a step. Right click, 8th note's what I want. So I'm going to then alternate between those notes. That should go for the whole bar there. Is there any change in the next bar? No, there's not. So let's actually copy that and paste it. In the third bar, the bottom note's going to move to C, but I may as well actually just copy both those bars in there, just keeping in mind to highlight the D flat or C sharp and just lower it in the third bar. So let's have a listen to how that all sounds together. Okay, now the first thing you might notice is that guitar's way too loud. So if I come over, I'll get rid of those chords for a second. If I come over to the track volume over here, that sort of cyan blue color, I can actually drag that down and find a good mix. Let's check it out. And I actually want this just to be a little background kind of part, so I've gone 10 decibels down. Also, I want to smooth it out, and a good way of smoothing something out and taking it from the foreground is just to use some reverb. So basically this first send that's currently mixed at -infinity is actually allocated to a reverb effect. So I'm going to drag that up until I can hear the reverb. What I'm going to do is put a few reps of that, drag it out. I'm going to put it to the point where there's too much reverb, and then I'm going to bring it back. So I've deactivated my piano for a second. And actually, I kind of like it swimming in reverb. I've gone all the way to -3. I thought 0 was a bit too much. But I do actually like it with a fair bit of reverb. I'm actually going to reduce the volume a bit more though. Okay, so it's up to you to find the balance that you like. What I'm actually going to do is just explore some other options. What if, just like my piano did, what if I actually change the note choices halfway here? So if in fact, I'll do it over here. I'm going to choose at this bar 9 point, rather than choosing the bottom and the middle notes, let's bring the bottom one up, try and get that on the top note of the chord, which you might recall was an A flat at first. I'll bring those chords back up for you. Then it moves up to a B flat, which is an A sharp, and then it moves back to the A flat, G sharp there. Let's hear what that sounds like coming into that section. Oh, you know what I just did? I made a mistake. Those changes that I made actually just affected all of those, whereas I'm just going to undo those changes for a second to the point there. I forgot to split it. And you notice that it actually applied those changes to the whole thing there. But now I can rename this to guitar 2, and obviously call that one guitar 1. And I'll give it in my system a slightly different green, just to show that's a variation. Now anything I do on this guitar 2 will not just affect all repetitions of that. So as we said, G sharps up to A sharps or B flats, and back to the G sharps. And let's have a listen to the first option and then the change. You know what? That's not exactly what I intended. It's changed direction. That was just actually a mistake, but I kind of like it. So I'm going to keep that as another option, throw it over here with my other extension thing. But basically I wanted them to be flipped. So I wanted actually to have, the A flat followed by the F. So I'm going to delete. I'll show you a quick way to fix it. Is just to fix the first instance of it. Oopsie. And then fix this last one as well. And then I'm going to copy and paste those a few times. And then that final bar just needs to be copied as well. Let's see what that sounds like now. So that's a couple of different options using those two types of chord. Now, what I'm going to do, just for fun, I'm going to copy across those chords, and let's explore what if we actually used all three of those chord tones, and we do it in a way that actually kind of follows the tresillo pattern. Remember that tresillo rhythm, the number 1 rhythm there of the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 that our chords are following. What if we actually had the guitar notes do that? So I'm going to make a new MIDI clip that goes for those 4 bars there. And I'm going to, you know what I've done here? I've actually changed my grid there. So never mind about that. I highlight those 4 bars from 17 to 21, and I'm going to create a MIDI clip. And this can be my guitar 3. And that's a good name because it's going to have the 3 notes from the chords. So bring the chords back up for you and change my grid to 8th note. And you might recall it was a G sharp or an A flat, an F, and a D flat or C sharp. And if I get all 3 of those, copy them a couple of times, and that third one there is an extra because we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. What does that sound like? Great. And then in the next bar, we've got our B flat or A sharp, and the F and the D flat or C sharp are the same as the previous bar. Copy that over. Once again, we've got our 3, 3, 2 pattern. So I delete that third note. Then in the final bar, it's actually very similar to the first bar. So I'll copy that first bar and just fix up that the bottom note. The D flat should actually be a C in that bar. So let's try playing that pattern. And then, of course, that bar is 2 bars on the F minor. So I copy that there. And you hear how that guitar nicely highlights the tresillo, even when the piano, is static. I wonder what it sounds like when we then put my third option of chords there and put that guitar just continuing. Let's have a listen. So see how I'm just exploring and experimenting? It'd be great if you also just start experimenting and exploring. Okay, so we've come up with some pretty cool stuff there. Some different variations and ways we can use an extra instrument to give some melodic and rhythmic interest. I might just silence that track for now because this is an optional exercise, and in the next video we won't have that one activated. Anyway, good luck and see how you go.